Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Two Dimes and a Token. I am one of your hosts, Brooke Nasty. In this particular episode, we have a very awesome guest of the podcast, a good friend of ours named Mike Rossi. He just won $130,000 in a poker tournament in Tampa, which actually gave him a sponsorship to play in the World Series of Poker that is going on this week. So he's going to tell us about the story. He's going to tell us about the event. He's going to tell us what it's like to play in those types of tournaments. He's going to give us an inside look at what it is to be a professional poker player or have an ambition to get to that level, right? He's going to tell us what it's like to balance life, poker as a side income, how to disconnect emotionally from the money he's playing with. Lots of great things in this podcast. An awesome time. And that is, I think that's everything for housekeeping. So guys, without further ado, please enjoy the episode featuring Mike Rossi.
You'll see his backup
dog
Gabbard go out there and he'll execute, but he'll have some missed throws.
Listen,
and then you'll see Trash go out there, and everybody on the defense gets light. They light
name?
up. I don't even know what's his. It's Kevin Trash.
Kyle Trash.
You see him go out there, and you know the defense.
Kyle
is
Trash.
Hype. They going out there getting picks.
They
Everybody, they ready to shine now.
About that, it's like the perfect name you'd hear, like Kyle Trash. Your son is at the front. Come get your son, Kyle Trash.
I think they just got the quarterback, Kurt Warner's son.
Yeah.
So I look at that like he may come up and coming. Like, you know, Kurt was an underdog, somebody that everyone looked past.
Listen, fuck Kurt. No, I didn't mean that. What are we drinking, bro? What are we drinking today, my man?
So we already
got some. We got some
Glenfiddich,
Glenfiddich, some 18-year Glenfiddich. You know, just a good value overall quality.
Yes.
Scotch whiskey. You know, only the best. Felt like we
absolutely
be a good sip to have here with my guys. Haven't seen you guys in 15 years or so.
It has been. So our official drink of the pod, unofficially sponsored by Terramana Tequila. Not yet sponsored by Terramana Tequila. But this is a great choice, man. When we walked in there and I saw you kind of looking around, I said, this guy knows his shit. I was pretty stoked because a lot of times, like I go in there with Keon, and like Keon's the type of guy where it's one drink and he's pretty trash regardless. So he's like, yeah, whatever's the cheapest. That's
I'm a
what
cheap
I want.
date. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. You gotta know your class. I'm good. I'm a cheap date,
Dude.
It's not gonna take me long to get there.
So let's dive into this. I'm kind of honestly, I'm a little fucking salty, bro, because we've spent the last hour kind of catching up, and I'm sitting here like, bro, I want to put all this on fucking film, right?
Yeah, we can dive right into it. Man.
Dude, it's so you're coming off a tournament where, if you guys don't know, my man Rossi here just won a tournament. What was it? 150,000? $132,000 profit off playing Texas Hold'em.
What day was that? What day of the week was it?
Yeah.
It was a Tuesday afternoon.
I knew it was a taco. I knew it had to be like a Taco Tuesday. I knew it. Best Tuesday in the world.
Best Tuesday ever.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
was that your best Tuesday ever?
That probably was my best Tuesday ever. And I had some damn good food afterwards. Took the friends and family out. We had a nice celebratory dinner. You know, super humble and grateful to be able to close out a poker tournament like that. There's a ton of variance, ton of things that can go right, ton of things that can go wrong. Fortunate to be able to close it out because we were playing against some of the world's best players. You know, some guys in there that have millions of dollars in cash. 2 WPT champions were in there. James Carroll, guys got over $5 million in live earnings. Playing against Steven Song, GPI Player of the Year. I mean, these guys are doing it. I'm trying to do it. You know, So fortunate to be able to close it out against guys like that.
Yeah. What's the final hand that you guys are dealing? Walk us through that, bro, because that's got to be like. Give me the depth, too, because I got to be honest. When you got a pot with 130K in it, like I'm shitting through my pants, through the chair, and on the floor, baby. Like, that's a lot of dough, man.
Absolutely.
Especially for a Tuesday. Well, go ahead.
ton of money for a Tuesday, but you got to understand, you know, going down to the final 2 players is me versus James Carroll. I was actually a 3-1 dog, you know, when it comes to chip count. So he had a 3-1 chip lead on me. I was mentally secure because second place was $95K.
Yeah.
So it's still a fat payday. So in my head, I was like, we're just gonna do the best I can here, heads up against a top crusher, and whatever happens, happens. But I'm still walking away with 95 G's. So I was feeling confident about it, but I was able to close out with some hands that really ran my way. If you guys watch the stream, they documented everything. There were some sick hands, completely cooler James, hand after hand. It was almost like it was just my time to score this thing, because the hands were just, I flopped a flush. Next hand, I flopped another flush. Third hand, I flopped a set, got a straight. I mean, all within like 7 hands. The poor guy didn't even have a chance to play against me.
That's wild, dude. That's
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, you're just sitting there like, bro, this is happening. And
I was ready.
I'm about to take this bitch home.
Absolutely. I was super composed too, which is a surprise, because in previous events that I played in, the nerves kind of get into you. You're starting to get to the final stages. The pressure's on.
Yeah.
So like I was telling you guys in the car, it took that time to just manifest it. I literally manifested this shit.
Yeah. Dude, that's wild, man. Because when we first saw it, we saw the ad, and the first thing I said, bro, that's fucking Rossi. That's our
That's
boy,
me,
right?
dog. Yeah, that's
play
me.
ball with this
Yeah.
guy, right? And then you see like, bam, poker, just, big stat. We're like, holy shit, dude. Like, this guy does this thing, right? So, and
I
now
thought that's all you did, but go ahead.
Yeah,
That's
so I've been playing poker for a long time, and I as we've had the conversation, I can already tell like there's differences between like playing poker and playing poker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think one of the biggest things you talked about already with us before we started shooting was being able to disconnect from money emotionally. That's got to be a big thing. How are you able to do that, bro?
I mean, you got to understand, and and I think we all feel it in our day-to-day lives. Like, emotions are everything, right?
Yeah.
They affect all the decisions we make from the moment you wake up in the morning. How do you feel? But going into the tournament, it was a 4-day grind. So day after day, I made sure that I was eating right. Early in the mornings, I was able to take some time to get a quick little workout in, spend some time in the pool, just really keeping my mind focused on the task at hand here, which was really to stay alive and make it deep in the tournament. But to your point, I just focused mentally to stay composed by really channeling the energy and taking a moment to slow shit down, because you have so many things that go on in your mind with family or this and that. My mom was calling me, I'm so excited for you. My girlfriend's telling me, you're going to do great. You're going to close it out. I didn't want to let them down, I try not to let all that pressure soak in. And I just really, really tuned it out and took some time to just get quiet in my own head and focus on decisions I need to make in order to make it happen.
That's crazy. So you got the whole family supporting you the whole entire time.
Yeah, you could say that. Like, initially, nobody was supporting me, right? Looking at me like, you're a gambler. You're playing poker. You're throwing your money around. I tell my grandmother I'm playing poker. You look at me like, I'm a clown.
What are you doing
in the casinos? Right? But I didn't let that get to me. I always believed in myself. Number one, I believed that I had the capability. I always had the sense of confidence and a little bit of swagger at the table. That hey, I'm here to play. And didn't let the head nonsense get to, because a lot of people have a lot of things to say about, you should or shouldn't be doing this, or maybe you need to be off doing something else with your life. And for me, I just knew, I was like, I'm good at this. I'm going to do the best I can with it. And, that was my time to shine.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously it's worked out pretty well so far. So now that you've won this tournament, dude, so you're getting ready to play in World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. We actually just had a short stint in Vegas. We played a couple of side events in the World Series of Poker. World Series of Poker in Vegas, like the world's biggest stage for poker, right? And you have people come from all around the world just to play in those events. But fortunate for me, from the grace of Mr. Chris Moneymaker himself, who actually started the Moneymaker Tour, by the way, the event that I won a couple weeks back. He's actually sponsored me to play in the WSOP main event, which is a $10,000 buy-in.
Jesus.
So normally I would have to come out of pocket for that, but I'm fortunate they're able to buy me in directly, and I'm free rolling that thing pretty much.
Tell me. So you're trying to tell me the guy that you beat is bankrolling you?
No. So it's his tour, right? So if we go back to the poker era, like Chris Moneymaker was a nobody, bro. This guy was an accountant, and he went and played on the world's biggest stage and beat the world's biggest players 20 years ago to the day of when I won the tournament on the 22nd of May. So if you rewind it back 20 years, the Moneymaker era was really like, this guy was the one that like caused the boom within poker.
Really?
He was the one that exploded the game really to make it more popular than what it is today. Because before it was just kind of a niche game. Like nobody really played for money. You know, it was kind of like the pros played with the pros. You know, then when he came in, they're like, this accountant came in and won $2.5 million, scooped the whole main event. That's like what exploded poker, you know, on the stage it is today.
That's crazy, dude. And it's weird because like I used to stay up late like when I was a kid, and you'd see it on ESPN late, the World Series of Poker, bro. And I always thought that shit was so cool. I love the idea of playing poker, but to my point earlier, I don't know how it's possible to disconnect because I'm very OCD when it comes to a lot of things. I feel like you have to learn to be relaxed, very unemotional, and just like a very, you know what I'm saying, intuitive with the environment type of person, I guess.
I would say you're right. You know, I think you just try to slow things down and not worry so much, right? Like I think a lot of the obstacles that we all encounter in life are like our own mental, why I can't do this, or I don't believe that I could do that. You know, you have these mental barriers. You just got to put that shit aside and just focus on what you can control, which are the two cards in front of you. Yeah. You know, make the best decisions that you can make when you have those cards. And you got to understand your opponents are trying to do the same thing, right? Your opponents are playing head games with you. You know, they see little tells, nonverbal or even verbal tells with your how you say bets and things like that. What I try to do is really try to get a feel for my opponents, and then, you know, what are they thinking that I'm thinking? You know, what do they think that I'm thinking about how they're thinking? You know, there's like this whole, you know, next level of psychology to the game, which is what I love about it. You know, that's what makes it fun and competitive. It's, you know, it's a strategic game. It's a cognitive game. You know, it's not just a, you know, similar to blackjack. You just put your money down and pray for that 21 to hit. You know, there's a process that we're going through here, you know. That's
amazing, dude. So when did you first get into poker?
Got into poker when I was 18. I started playing in like a home game with my buddies. It was like a little $20 buy-in. It was a tournament style where we had blinds and played with like 6 people, and you know, I won a couple times. I won like $80. You know, I was feeling like the man. You know, won $80 off the homies. You know, and then my first time in the casino, sat down and played a 1-2 cash game, which is like one of the more basic levels of cash you could play at the casino. And I won $60. You know, walked out of there feeling like champion of the world. You know, I was like, I could do this shit. Like, why am I going to go to work if I can make money here? And obviously, you know, I was a novice at the time, didn't really understand a lot of the variance that comes with the game and the ups and downs and the swings of it. But 18 started out there, and that's when I knew that there was like something there. There was like a passion for it. Like I love doing this. Yeah. You know, so up until the last 3 years when I really started taking it serious, where I was investing the time, I was, you know, learning on outside platforms, trying to learn from other people that are doing better than me. You know, asking questions, you know, really just trying to learn from those that are wiser, you know, those that have been there, done that. And that's, I think what's been attributed to some of my results is the time I put in off the table. Yeah. You know, walking through mistakes that I've made, and, you know, how can I be better? You know, that was a question I kept asking myself. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So just a quick side question. What's the biggest pot you've ever won on a single hand?
Biggest pot, right? So tournaments are different from cash games. Yeah. Biggest pot I've ever won was actually recently. Actually, it was less than a week ago. I scored a $7,000 pot. Yeah, we were playing a game called PLO. It's called Pot Limit Omaha. It's a 4-card game, playing with a bunch of hitters. The guys were just gambling a lot of money. I was very fortunate to hit the hand that I had, and I was able to scoop the whole pot. But yeah, it was. I think it was like right around 7,100 in one sitting. You know,
what goes through your mind when you're like, say you show up at a casino, or, you know, and you just sit down to play, and you know, say you walk in, you know, you have because usually you walk in with, you know, a couple $100 or $1,000 or whatever it is you walk in with. I think ours would be a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But when you sit down and you get like, say you get like 3-4 hours into it, and all of a sudden, like, you sat down with 2 and now you got 8. Like, what's going through your mind? Are you like, damn, rent's paid, like this? Like, what's...
Yeah, so I don't think about anything like that necessarily, because for one, I'm not playing with money that I can't afford to lose, right? Like, so that whole dependency factor on the dollar that's on the table is completely out of there. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people can do that gamble or play any kind of risk with their money in a casino is don't be risking money that you absolutely need to pay for pay for your affairs, take care of your stuff outside of it, anything extra that you have. So I pull that factor out of it. But to answer your question, I'm 3 hours in, I'm up, if the game is good, I'm gonna stay in it. I'll stay in it 24-hour session if I have to. If the game is that good, if I'm crushing it or if I have an advantage on these players, I'm just gonna keep pulling money off of them, as much as I can. but
so there's no telltale to walk away.
Yeah,
there is, right? Because you're gonna have fatigue, right? You got to be cognitive of how you're feeling, and you never want to play when you're tired. You're not gonna make good decisions when you're tired. You're gonna end up making mistakes. But it really depends on is the game good for me? Am I do I have an edge here playing in this game? If I don't, I normally can pick up on that early if I'm playing against players that I feel are better than me, or I don't have an opportunity to really score as big as I can at another table. I'll just ask for a transfer and go play at a different game.
People ever get mad when you leave? Like, hey, whoa, you just...
there's like an etiquette in poker, like say we sat down and I scored a big pot off of you, I won like $500 off of you, and you just get up and leave. That's what they call a hit and run. Yeah. It's kind of like poker etiquette. It's just like, man, what's this guy doing? Because you really want to give people a chance to play it out. But again, like I'm here to make money. I'm here to make a profit. Yeah. I'm not here to make friends. I'm very courteous. I keep a good etiquette overall, but I'm here to make cash. So if I have an opportunity to stick around and keep crushing, I'm going to stay crush. But if not, then I'll move on and cut my losses too.
Ironically, dude, this is a fantastic story. You'll love this, Mike. So long time ago, many years ago, this is before my daughter was even born, dude. Me and Batman, we went to the Tampa Hard Rock, right? And we go in and we play a 2-4 limit, right? So on the flop, you can only bet 2. On the turn in the river, you could bet up to 4. Yep. And that was the max, right? So it was wild, dude. I'll never forget this because I knew what I had on the table. Like I think it was pocket queens, and there was a queen 2-2.
Yeah, you flopped a full house.
Exactly. I flopped a full house, right? And everybody was banking on the 2s and something else, right? So, but I knew, like, because I had the pocket, I'm like, dude, I have the highest part of the full house. Like, I'm going to be able to sneak away with this. Yeah. And there was no other higher card on the table. So this dude to my left, he was an old guy. He's like running. And it was obvious. Like, this guy had a 2 and he had another card that matched something on the table, right? So, he's going, and my buddy Batman is across the table, and he's like, hey, bro, you need to stop. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I got it. Right. So I'm like looking. So I go as much as you can in a 2-4 limit, because you can only get up to like $20 or something. Yeah. Right. So he turns and he looks at me and he's like, yo, young buck's gonna learn. And he had a 2 and like an 8, and he had the full house. Yeah. Right. And I was like, damn, young buck's gotta learn. Flopped over the queens. Everybody was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. He slow rolled the guy. He slow rolled him. Yeah.
And it was great because when you have a guy that knows he's got it, he's just gonna keep throwing. Yeah. And you're just like, "Yeah, bro."
But you knew you had it, right?
I knew there was no doubt because there was no higher card on the table. Like through mathematics, it was simple. Yeah. There was no way, right? So anyway, my buddy Batman, he's getting up to leave at that moment. The reason I tell you this story, bro. He's getting up to leave at that moment. He's like, come on. So I literally collected and I was like, sorry, bro. I'm out.
Yeah. Hit and run, like we were saying.
It was bad, dude. Even I felt bad walking out of there.
That's the beauty of the game, right? Like, Brock had a full house. Like, there's moments in the game where you got the best hand. Like, I got my opponent crushed. Like, this guy doesn't stand a chance. Yeah. So in those spots, it comes to strategy. How do I bet? Do I bet enough to where I keep him in the game? Because you don't want to blow him off the pot. Yeah, you want to extract money off them. So that's where you come into making betting decisions on how much do I bet to get my opponent to call and commit their money to the pot, knowing that you have the best hand.
So tell me, is it me versus you, or is it you versus you?
I would think more of it is me versus me on the first level, and then secondary level is me versus them, because me versus me, I could be making bad decisions. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a perfect player. We all make bad decisions and mistakes. So if you can mitigate those mistakes against your opponents, that's going to give you an advantage in the long run of the game. The more we play,
Yeah, dude, that's wild. So, and I think that's a thing that you should be able to really dive in on too. Like a lot of people look at that and it's just gambling, right? and you've already kind of where the conversation's been going. It's not a gambling sport. Like,
absolutely
it's
not.
legitimately a skilled sport.
100%. You know, like I was telling you in the car earlier, you know, poker's been ruled by the Supreme Court as a game of skill.
Yeah.
You know, it's a reason why they have card rooms outside the casinos. Like, it is not to be treated like a roll of the roulette table.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes time for you to immerse yourself in the game, to feel that, to see that. You know, the more time you spend in it, you'll notice that there is a difference and there is a skill gap amongst players. But it's just like anything, you know, the more time and more practice that you put in, you're going to get better at things. You know, you're going to get stronger. It's like working that muscle, you know?
Bro, that's crazy. So when is your next tournament that you're going into?
So that's going to be right after 4th of July. So they have the main event. They have a couple starting flights. I'm going to play probably on the 3rd day of the initial starting flights. I'll be out there through the week. Hopefully we'll make a deep run. If I do make a deep run in the main event, it'll be a pipe dream come true, because it's very difficult. You know, you're playing against thousands of players, you know, to
gotta manifest that thing. Like you said.
Exactly. 100%. You know, we're already getting after it. But we'll play in the main event, and then we'll be playing in London in the Triton series, which is like Europe's biggest stage.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be playing super high roller events, all like minimum buy-ins $20,000. You know, these guys are sponsoring me, buying me into those events. I have a $100K package.
Yeah.
So I can use that $100K to play in all these different tournaments throughout the series, and that runs July 28th through August 10th. So I'll be in London doing that. It's really, really excited, man. Really hyped up.
So that's just based upon kind of like a sponsorship stuff. You're wearing the material, and they're like, "Hey, we'll get you there. Just you're going to be on television." So essentially,
you know, in super blessed and grateful to get the opportunity to work with these guys. Right, like Chris Moneymaker himself is a guy who's world known within the poker industry. So to be a part of his crew and wear his brand and his label, you know, I treat it like my brand. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do the best I can to make the most of it, and definitely going to be investing in some coaching. You know, we all can get better and work on our game. You know, I have some leaks and things that I need to work on to improve myself.
Yeah.
But to make sure that I'm absolutely mentally prepared and ready to step out there and give it my all, you know, I've been investing on the side, getting some coaching and building up my game so I can continue to improve. You know, that's really
so
my
there
focus.
is no like. You can't get to the top of this, like a point where you.
I mean, it depends on how you measure it, right? Like, you can sit here and talk about some of these guys, like Justin Bonomo. These guys got $67 million in cash. Like, you could say, you know, he's the top guy, right? This man's got 67 M's in cash earnings. It's insanity, you know. Like, if you think about it, right? But if you're talking about guys that are consistently winning or beating some of the bigger events, you know, it depends on how you measure. Who's the top. Really, I think I'm living the dream in a sense from poker, because it's a lot of people, true poker players, they have a dream to play in the main event. I get to play in the main event. You know, I'm living a dream doing that, and then to be able to play in Triton, which I'm playing against the world's best players, will be out there. So, you know, that'll really be a test of really who I am as a player.
Yeah.
But you know, I wouldn't say there's like a pinnacle or a place to reach. So the game is still evolving. You know, the strategies that come into the game, it's not just about making a hand or making a flush. Like, there's like so many strategies that have been deployed through game theory optimization, which is, they call it GTO, where there's like every spot and decision is the right way to go, left or right. You know, GTO kind of tells you which way to go. But when it comes to the game overall, it's continuing to evolve and develop with new strategies, and new decisions are being made. So there's always something new to learn, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like offensive schemes in football, right? You've seen offenses kind of mold and change over time. Keep developing, exactly.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you Sunterra Solar Solutions, a leading-edge solar company committed to making sure they provide a phenomenal experience to its customers. Going solar was one of the best decisions that I ever made. Not only did they provide me a no-hassle experience, it didn't feel like a sales experience. It felt like an amazing person-to-person having a conversation on whether solar was going to be right for me. I was fortunate enough to not only lower my monthly energy cost, but they gave me an option to be able to create a stabilized monthly bill that I could prepare around. I qualified for a new customer incentive that put cash in my hand after installation, as well as I qualified for a tax credit at the end of that same year after I had it installed. All in all, not only was it the best decision I ever made, I lowered my monthly energy costs, I stabilized my bill, I put a ton of cash in hand. It felt like I got paid to go solar. And my most favorite part that I haven't even mentioned, it eliminated my exposure to future increasing rates from the utility companies. So if you think going solar is the right thing for you, by all means, hit us up in our DMs. We can connect you with a sales associate today. And now, back to the episode. After you go through these tournaments, like obviously we're all sitting here gonna manifest, bro. My boy's gonna come out winning both, no doubt. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then right after you win, you gotta come on the podcast, tell us what it's like
Absolutely,
to now be a millionaire by poker, right?
Absolutely.
So I mean, what kind of is coming after these tournaments for you? Are you like, man, because let's be real, when you have a ride like you're about to go on in the next few months, I mean, it's exciting, but that drains you a lot. Like,
Absolutely.
Are you looking to kind of stay on tour and like just hit the thing hard and just keep going, and now that's your lifestyle, or are you looking to take some time off?
I mean, personally, I'll probably end up taking some time off no matter which way it goes, right? You know, obviously if it goes right, we end up winning large sums of cash. You know, I'll probably be in a different headspace, you know, mentally and be more confident to make different decisions. But I think I'm still just going to remain in the same mindset where I'm at, you know, from a mental state. You know, I'm super grateful and humble for all these opportunities that come my way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make the best of them, you know. So to answer your question, I can't really foresee that because I'm just focused on like getting through the next week, you know, stay in a good space so I can be mentally prepared and ready to go in 2 weeks.
That's polished.
You know?
That's polished, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
That's great. You know, I mean, all that, but I'm focused on what's next.
Make some polish.
See, that's great shit. That's awesome, man.
Dude, my first one, by the way.
This is strong. I'm just letting you know that.
It's good stuff, man.
What'd you say?
It's good stuff.
That's strong.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's very high quality. So, dude, that's so wild, man. And I got to be honest, dude. It was kind of a fucking pick me up when we caught you. I saw the social media post, and I was like, bro, get the fuck out of here. It's our boy, right?
Super blessings, man.
And it was so funny, man, because I'll never forget the first thing that came to my mind. We go way back, but we go way back in a sense where we had like the love-hate relationship. Rossi used to fuck with me on the daily, right? Because I had such a horrible temper, and everybody around me, like, remember Bailey? Bailey said the same thing. He's like, you know why he fucks with you, right? Because you're the only one that just gets that mad all the time.
Nobody.
To be honest with you, though, to be fair, I used to fuck with everybody. Like, I think a lot of people did like
true.
me over there. Like I just my general attitude, you know.
Yeah.
When I was a young gun, I used to talk a lot of shit, you know, on the field, especially on the field. I would be any chance I had to say anything to anyone, I would be talking shit, even if that meant, you know, getting my face kicked in. You know, I had an interaction with one of the biggest guys on the team. You know, I don't know if you guys remember. Your boy Buck, you know, got into it.
Right I do remember this.
Guy put me in a chokehold. I mean, this guy, how tall was Buck? Like, what, 6'5"?
Yeah.
You know, he's a defensive lineman.
He was
I'm
a tall
defensive
cat.
back, you know? That guy.
I didn't know you put you in a chokehold.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it was all with Andy. Ayo was telling him, you know, I was talking shit or saying something, you know, but if you dish it out, I would be one to dish it right back. You know, I didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, I would just keep going at it. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
And to that story, I remember, I think I just caught you on a bad day, on top of the fact that I think you were getting your ass whooped in Halo too.
Probably, yeah.
Because the community we had there, the dorms, everybody would just kind of walk in and out of their dorms, say what's up. This is a brotherhood, right? We're a football team, right? We're a crew. And I remember I walked in right at the right time, and I think you had just gotten sniped in the game, and you were competitively playing Halo, and I was like,
Halo God, bro, God, that dude.
I couldn't tell who was playing what or who was on which split screen side, and I was like, who's getting their ass whooped? I just said something like that, and you were like, man, Rossi, can't you just shut up, man? Like for 3 days, can't you just leave me alone? And I immediately was like, yeah, you got 3 days, and then you just snapped. You were like 3 days, like I set him off, bro. Like my buddy set him off, and then we ended up having a little scrap outside. And fortunately for Bailey, because I think you definitely had me pound for pound there. Fortunately, Mike Bailey was holding you back, and I got a couple of licks on you there.
I think so.
Like,
you guys actually got into a scrabble?
We got a little
I
tussle.
punched him in the face.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he did. He did. And that was the thing, Mike. And the funny thing was, we went back to the room later that night. It was just me, Mike, remember Brewer.
Yeah.
And Brewer and Bailey were all sitting in bed, and I'm just sitting there like, man, motherfucker. Like, I'm mad.
Yeah.
And Bailey said it right. He's like, bro, tomorrow you're going to wake up and it's water under the fucking bridge. Like, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, man. I'm overreacting.
We had a class together, and I think the next day we chopped it up.
Yeah, we chopped it up. Like, it was fine. Right. But I will say this, though. His personality set is like, everybody knows who Channing Crowder is, right? That's his personality set. He just talks shit. That's his style,
bro.
I
was bad, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It was bad.
And I was always like the humble guy. Like, I'm like, man, why you got to talk so much? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is what really set me off, though. Bailey used to fuck with me all the time because right after that, bro, we're laying in bed that night and it's like 2 a.m. He's like, yeah, bro, don't worry about it. Like, trust me, everybody's gonna be cool. Like, it's all good. It is what it is, bro. People lose their head, and we'll just get back in the right space tomorrow. I'm like, Bailey giving some of the best advice. I'm like, yeah, you're right, man. You're right. He's like, but Rossi did beat your ass, though, bro.
Like, you just sprinkled that right on, Shout out to Mike Bailey. I think that's why me and him got along so much. Like, me and him together, we used to not only fuck with each other, but we fuck with other people together.
Yeah.
Like, I miss that guy, by the way. I haven't talked to him in a while. It's been a minute. I think he's in Kentucky doing his thing.
I don't know where Bailey at.
Yeah.
Bailey,
I don't know where Bailey's at, but I've messaged him a couple times. He's responding. Like, we've caught up a little bit.
He's a family man now.
Yeah,
He's got his son playing ball now. He's a great dude. Great dude.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. So, God, dude, that put me in such a whirlwind of thought. I was like thinking about that whole story. I was like, damn, he did. I remember he gave me that quick 1-2, and I'm getting held back, and I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. It was terrible.
We always talk about, crazy stories.
Yeah.
But the mere fact that you let somebody hold you back without, getting...
In all respect, though, Bailey was a small package, but the dude was actually fucking strong.
He's a strong dude.
He was a very strong dude.
He had that leprechaun strength.
He did. He had the leprechaun
like
strength.
5'5",
that dude was benching like 425, 440.
He was 5'5".
I don't know if he's that short.
That's
but
not.
He's shorter. He's shorter than you.
Bailey, get in the comments.
I don't know if he's that short.
Get in the comments and defend yourself.
Bailey's 5'5" with heels on. Like,
yes.
he's not. He was definitely a red little thing that could.
That dude had heart though. Straight.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was a beast, bro. I love
that guy.
I love that guy.
He balled hard.
And the guy that left at that Brewer, I wish Brewer would have stayed because he was fun. He was going through a life crisis at that point in time, but we'll move on to the next part. So as he was pointing out, we always have a sign up here: is bad decisions make better stories, right? So can you think back to anything as far as poker career, life, anything that you've done where you've been like, bro, what the F did I just do? And then fast forward, it turned out to be the best decision you ever made.
That's a tough one, man. I haven't thought about that for a while, I feel like that's how my days go, with everything that we do in life, right? If I had to go back on a story that I felt was a bad decision but ended up being a good one, I think it was really, really learning to be true with myself. I was in a pretty toxic relationship at one point in time, and not to get lovey-dovey here, but I was making a lot of decisions for this other individual, that I wanted to be with or be a part of, and there was like this hook in me that if she went with it, then I was going to go with it too. And that I realized that I needed to step away from it. And it was hard for me to do, to break free from that. But I ended up, we were still together. Right. But I mentally knew, I was like, man, this shit ain't working out. It's time to cut it off. So, I actually hopped on these dating apps. Right. And I was like, let me see if I can find some girls, who, get up and meet around. And from a morally standpoint, I was really mentally checked out, but we were living together, right? So I ended up meeting with this girl on Tinder, and I went out on a date, and the date was phenomenal, right? Like, I was already out of this other relationship. I was like, man, I need to get out here and just like date some chicks, And I had this wonderful dinner with this chick, and I was trying to show her a good time, went to a nice restaurant, and ended up closing the date, left. Right, we left the date, and we ended up. I walked her to her car, and I was trying to maybe get something in real quick, I didn't. I was a gentleman.
Run all the bases.
I was a gentleman. Took her to the car, and then right when I closed up, she went in the car, drove off. My homie hit me up. He's like, "Yo, Mike, I'm here at this bar. Why don't you come through, man? And we're having a good time." I was like, "Absolutely, I'm right around the corner." So I went to go meet up with my homies, right? So I'm there. I'm making my way through the bar. And I meet up with one of my boys. We start having a drink. I'm having a drink, and I see my girlfriend at the time, like we were still together. Like I see like her friends in the bar and shit. I'm like, wait a second. Like I see her friends there at the bar. Like she's got to be here too, right?
Yeah.
So she ended up being there at the bar. It was like this big like fiasco soap opera type of deal. I go to the bathroom, right? And I go to the bathroom. I come out, and somebody like tugs at my arm, and it's the girl I just took out on a date. Like she went to the bar afterwards. Like we randomly went separate ways and ended up at this bar.
Get the fuck out of here.
So she's there. Yeah, she's there, right? And my ex is at the bar too, like on the other side of the bar. So now I'm like, my ex, my girl, like I was like, what are we gonna do here, right?
What am I doing?
Yeah. So invited this new chick to have some drinks with me, and she declined, which was the right thing to do, thankfully, because they would have all seen it all go down.
Yeah.
But pretty much it was a bad decision at the time to step outside of my current relationship and go and date this other chick that I met on Tinder, if you will. But it turned out to be the best thing ever, because now we've been together for almost 4 years. A split off this other chick. Yeah, you know, we're together. You know, we live together. We're building a life together, and you know, we're trying to do the thing, right? You know,
that's amazing.
Dude. That's crazy.
That's beyond crazy. Because why did she decline? Tell me. Why did she decline going?
She said that she told me that the date was going really good, and she didn't want to like mess it up with the alcohol, right? And I'll tell you, like, this date was phenomenal. Like we connected, we were just on the same level set. Like I could feel the energy. Like this is good. You know what I mean? And
everybody, the new kids call people that vibe, man.
I mean, vibe. It's true. It was a vibe, and being on Tinder, you know, I didn't have these set expectations for myself. You know, we had connected a little bit before. But super blessed to be able to meet this chick now that I've been with forever. Now she's great, you know, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Love this person. Went from like a relationship that I was in, making the bad decision to go off behind her back, if you will, to like hang with this other chick, and you know, here we are.
So now that leaves the other young lady in the rearview mirror. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I used to be with.
He said, "Oh, absolutely."
The only thing is, you got to be strategic about it. We were living together too, so you know, out of respect for her, you know, I didn't make a big drama thing. I was like, you know, I knew that she was ready to exit the relationship too. She took a job in another state without telling me, you know, so you know, I was polite about it, cordial. I said, hey, you know, when you're ready to get your stuff, you know, get up on out of here.
Do your thing.
But
do your thing.
That's dope. Yeah. She was just willing to just leave.
Well, I don't think she knew that I had dated this other chick at the time, and we were living together. But I think mentally she was already ready to move on, because she took a job in another state, so she was kind of like a mutual thing, like, hey, it's done. You know, I was cordial about it. You know? I wasn't like, you know, get your shit and get out of here. You know, I don't think there's really any mental energy to act like that.
I agree.
It's like, man, just close it up. You know?
But it was already toxic. Like, if you're already there,
but you got to limit the toxicity where you can, right? You don't want to like
I always go
drinking
full.
Toxicity.
I always go full.
You're talking to fucking King Toxic.
I always go full.
Apparently, no. We had an interview with Jaji, right? And she's asking him like 4 or 5 questions, giving him the grill, and she just lit him up. She's like, then why are you toxic? The internet actually went crazy on that clip. It was fucking hilarious.
To me, it's
dude,
more.
That one clip got like 100,000 views, and they were like, "Why are you so toxic?"
I used to be just like that.
That's what I'm saying. The difference is, you're already on the way out.
Yeah.
I got to make sure you don't want to come back, because this experience is only, you know, for the lighthearted.
Yeah,
I want you on this roller coaster with me.
Yeah, I hear
and
that.
I'm in control whether it goes up, down. They like to become the person that's in control,
for sure.
And before you leave, you got to know that you didn't have any control whatsoever.
That's true.
So let's veer back. I know we got a little personal there, but
that's good.
So I wanna touch base with. We're talking manifestation. We're talking like, hey man, we're envisioning ourselves being successful in these next few events, right?
It's absolutely real.
You are a guy that we talked about this earlier. Like, poker is not your full-time job. You're going to work. You're doing these things. Sometimes you're going there afterwards, and like I would call it practice. You're hitting these tables for practice and warm-ups, and you're trying to make sure you still stay on edge and that type of things, because that's exactly what I would do, because I'm a perfectionist in my craft. If I have to do a daily job, as soon as 5:01 hits, I'm going to do my craft, no matter what it takes. You're in the middle of that right now. You are that guy. You're working a full-time job to make sure you got all the bills paid, and then you're putting in the extra effort, the extra time, all this shit, so that you can make sure you hone in on this craft.
Yep.
If you're successful in these tournaments, what's your personal life look like now? Are you now that guy that's still staying secure in a full-time job? Or are you like, hey man, you know what? This is now my career.
You know, it's funny because I've always had this dream, you know, that, you know, if I make it big, you know, I'm going to go off and do different things. But like I kind of made it, you know, like 6-figure score in 4 days, you know, that's extremely solid. Super grateful for that. But as the days went on after winning the tournament, right, like I had to go back home. I had to go sit at the desk. And there was a moment there. Yeah, there was a moment, right? I was sitting there like,
you're like, bro,
man, I got to think about this. And shout out to my employer. They were very supportive. I actually had some of my team members that were watching the live stream, so they were all hyped up that I won this thing.
That's
right?
awesome.
But one of my close homies, my boy Cam, that I work with there, he made a comment to me. He's like, bro, you know, I was sitting here watching you win this tournament while I'm sitting here at the desk. Like, well, what the fuck? Like, I'm sitting here working, and my guy here just won, you know, $132,000. Like, and he has a point, right? So to answer your question, you know, I've never really been faced with that decision, but when I was sitting at the desk thinking about it, you know, like, this is my job. Like, this is what I've been working on. I've spent so much time here in the organization. You know, the people that I work with are tremendous. I've learned a lot, and there's still a whole lot more to learn about the industry. I work in the beverage space, and you know, grateful for my team. And at the time, I was like, man, do I still want to be here? And there's kind of like this weird, like I kind of do, you know, like because I am learning, I am growing and developing outside of poker. This is what I'm doing on a professional level, you know. So for me, there was always this level of like professionalism, what I'm doing on the side as a hobby that's doing well and earning me some extra cash. But at the same time, it was difficult to really see the two decisions. Like, you know, do you want to do this full time? Because I am getting a lot of push for people saying, hey, if you're going to live the dream, now's the time. Like, ditch your job, go out there and play poker full time.
I mean,
like,
you
clearly
prime.
can do it. Yeah, exactly.
You are.
You know, that's what they're saying.
Dude, honestly, that's a hard decision. It's a very hard decision. But a lot of people see it. I think when you were, I'm sitting here listening and you talk for the past like 2 hours, and I'm sitting here thinking like, holy fuck, like this is a guy that has a very similar mentality to my mentality.
Sure.
Because he's talking about this, but he's like, you know what? We're talking about long-term investments, and he's talking about his hobby and what he does the same way I talk about the businesses that I put together. I'm going to get a specific rate of return off of how much I put into this business that I build. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with what you literally said. You're like said, if I'm going in, depending on each individual bet and each individual hand, I could have a 1 to 10 to go from 20 to 200, or I go from 1 to 2. And it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And, and it was kind of, it was like, damn, hey, my dog knows his shit a little bit. Like he's the man.
I want to tell you before you dive in, everybody has a number. Mine is, if I can get to $1 million a year without clocking a 9 to 5, I think I'll retire the 9 to 5 mentality.
I challenge you. 200K. You do it. No, he'd do it for 200K. He talks shit about $1 million. Fuck you. You love. So you just love your free time way more than you love money, dude. Don't lie.
Money is just a tool that allows us to do what we want to do.
Absolutely.
But if you already live in a world where you do what you want to do, then you don't necessarily need that tool.
See, that's why I said it. That's why we talk about that shit all the time. Him and I all the time, because we spend so much time together. And you're right. I am the complete opposite of that man over there. When I get to 20 million sitting in investments and all this other stuff, I'll be like, well, I just need to get to 25.
Yeah, whatever that number is, you better inflate it, because inflation is going to run you down.
Inflation, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be a 9 to 5 waiting for you.
For sure.
And for life, everyone thinks like you have a long time.
You don't.
You really don't.
You got a short time. You got a short window, like a pocket, a gap.
I would say it's like a 15 to 20 year window for you to really just jump on it, fucking do it, and figure it out. And we were recently featured on another podcast, a good friend of ours, the Up to Me podcast, and they asked us both the question. They said, what like advice would you give? And I'm being selfish here, I don't remember Keon's, but I know it was great because I was like, fuck yeah, that's some real shit. But I said, just do it. Just fucking do it. Get
Yeah.
out there and do it. Like, bro, how many times have we shot podcasts and we've aired, this will be 23 or 24 that we're airing in this one. And we've shot probably legit 42, and 15 of them we fucked up the camera, didn't film it, audio didn't catch, bullshit happened, all this. Like, the time that we've put into this, like you said, nobody sees it.
Yeah.
Nobody sees that part. And the effort on a daily basis, it's crazy. But just go do it, bro.
Absolutely.
go do it.
And that's what I was saying when I came in. Like, I got to say, it's extremely commendable and bold of you guys to take that leap, you know? So I feel like a lot of people, you know, have a hard time moving past that fear gap of like, can I do this or should I do this? You know, people start thinking about what could go wrong instead of thinking about what can go right. And I really try to focus myself on thinking about what can go right. You know, I don't want any kind of fucking negativity or any kind of shade you're gonna throw my way, any kind of hater or anything like that. Like, hey, you're falling on deaf ears, bro. Like, I don't have any time or the mental capacity to listen to any of that shit. I'm focusing on positive, mental can-do attitude. You know, like, how can we make this work? I don't want to hear about the fucking problems. I want to hear about the solutions. You know, as simple as that. Like, that's literally the mentality I come from.
Listen.
So, like, from a number, you were talking about like a number.
Yeah.
I think about that too, and like, I don't have a magical number that works, but you know, I work full time. I'm doing poker, but I'm also doing some real estate investing at the same time. You know, my dream is to get a multifamily property portfolio where I have rental income coming in. You know, poker isn't that long term, you know, only what if focus. I have multiple tentacles that are out there kind of working their way. Yeah. So if one doesn't work out, I still got this. And you're right. 9 to 5 is always going to be there, but I'm still going to take shots to my left. I'm going to take shots to my right and try to work on other projects to build them up. And I'm not going to be scared to do it.
Look, I'm going to tell you, my dad always told me, he says in your 30s is when you take all the chances.
Yep.
In your 20s, you made all your mistakes.
Yep.
Yes.
In your 30s, you make up for you make up for those mistakes. Now you really take chances.
Rossi
and
literally said that in the car. All my 20s, that's where I fucked up.
Yeah, I think people that are in their 20s,
to interrupt you, Ken. I apologize.
No, you're good.
They don't think like that. You know, when you're younger, you know, you don't have that long term thought process. You want shit to happen now. I know when I was in my 20s, I wanted the car. I thought I was going to be a millionaire by 24 or 25. It's just not fucking reality.
It's not reality if you don't have a plan in place.
Exactly.
And doing everything in your power to execute that plan.
And that's the 1%, because a lot of people don't realize, like, you. And I think social media is great for young people, but I also think it's the worst thing that you can possibly expose to young people.
Yeah.
Because what do they hear about all the time? Like guys like Mr. Beast and guys like YouTube millionaires and da-da-da-da-da. You know what? And those are the videos that get played over and over on the shorts list on YouTube. Those are the videos that have the 4 million views and all this stuff. And they're like, this guy did it, this guy did it, this guy did it, right? People don't realize, like, those videos are put to the front by YouTube because those are the 3 guys out of the 200 million that tried it and made it. People don't think that way. You know what I'm saying? So I just little comment on that.
I mean, it's not even about, you know, I always tell people it's not about who made it. It's what do you do when you get there?
Sure.
Like, I always, you know, when it comes to money, I said that was a Tuesday, so that was your best Tuesday.
Absolutely.
You can't, if that's the pinnacle, how do I keep this and then grow from it? Sure. Oh, that's my only goal when it comes to money. Okay, yeah, I made it 6 figures. That's great. How do I make that again and grow on top of that? So when you invest in other properties and so on and so forth, I always tell, my dad had 8 houses when we were kids, and he didn't hire anybody to work on these houses. He made us work on all of these houses. And once he got it to a point where they were good and standing, he sold all of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to live off of the work that I put in. And it's only because I took the chances in my 30s that I'm able to retire in my 40s. Now, at 60, he's like, yeah, I work because I want to work. I work because it's some things that I really want that I shouldn't have to go into my savings and get. Not overreaching. So I have that as someone that guided me. I believe that the rest of the world, there was some quote out there that said 85% of people follow everybody. 10% of people lead. And 5% of people just sit on the sideline and they spectate.
Yeah.
And I always said I'm more of the spectator. I can join the leader board and I can join the follow board, but I'm really more the spectator, the person that really wants to enjoy the entire experience. So with enjoying the entire experience, how do you do that knowing you're getting ready to go clock back in for somebody else? Like, it doesn't stop. You just had that emotional high. You won the Super Bowl.
I'm like rooted.
That was a
I'm
great
like,
question.
yeah,
That was a great
that's
question.
that is a good question. I'm still rooted into the way I was thinking though. Like, a year ago, I set some savings goals for myself where I was chopping up a piece of my paycheck and it was just going into an online interest bearing account. And I wasn't touching that shit. It was like my sacred fund, sacred savings, if you will. So for me, I need to make sure that automatic deposit is still hitting that account. So that's what I think about going in. And really, it's a monetary thing for me, going into work. Yes, I'm learning. Yes, I'm working in the AC, right? Like I work for a multi-billion-dollar organization that manufactures some of the world's biggest brands, A-brand beverages that you'll find throughout the stores. And I work in commercial strategy, so I'm learning, but also this monetary piece that I set for myself, this savings that I'm working towards, that's my grind every day. Like I'm going in there because I know a piece of that check that I'm earning is not only taking care of my liabilities, but also I'm putting money away for a bigger opportunity, which is to buy more real estate and get another piece of property so I can get another rental income going.
Yeah,
That's
amazing. We interrupt this episode to bring you Joe's Backyard Barbecue, a delicious, amazing, gourmet type backyard barbecue meal with the most amazing service and the most amazing person that you can have at the helm, cooking those amazing ribs, the amazing brisket, and all the wonderful spices and barbecue sauce that you can imagine. So if you're in the Lake Worth, Florida area, make sure you go and see your boy Joe at Joe's Backyard Barbecue. And now, back to the episode.
So when it comes to making investments, and you were talking about inflation, so on and so forth, and the market is changing, because you have a game plan on what you want to do and how you want to acquire things, with the market going up, do you still feel like it's a good place to store your money?
Well, do you feel like the market is going up?
I mean, if you look at any wealthy individual in the history of the world, they all own real estate.
Yeah.
They all own a piece of land of some sort. They all got dirt in their pocket. So for me, from all the research that I've done, real estate is the avenue for me that I think is going to secure my financial future. I know that that's what it did for my grandfather, and if you look at real estate market as itself, I mean, yes, it's up. It's pricey to get in. If you're looking at it, can I get in now? It's pricey. It's going to be difficult. You're going to pay more than you did 5 years ago, but 5 years is 5 years past. You're here now. What are you going to do now? So that way 10 years from now, you're going to be, because the market is volatile in the sense that it goes up and it goes down, but you still want to find an entry point where you're putting your money into real estate. You're thinking 20 years. You're not, this isn't a quick fix deal for me. It's just like you were telling me the story about your pops and the houses that he invested in over time so he could retire in his 40s. I'm thinking like that. When I'm 50, I want to have the chest hairs hanging out with the gold Rolex and be able to go and get on my boat if I want. Like I have a visualization of what it is, but how I'm going to get there is real estate, and that's what real estate for me. That's not for everybody.
Rossi reminds me of that Italian from Grand Theft Auto 4. You know what I'm saying? With the chains hanging out. But hey, get on the boat. Shit, let's go for a ride.
We live in Florida, man, so you got to enjoy the water.
55, he's gonna be like, bro, Keon, get on the boat. Quit
Absolutely.
being pussies. Hey, get on there.
That's how you know you made it, when you got a boat.
Yes,
absolutely.
Anybody can have a
when
big
Rossi
house.
makes it, we will go on his boat and shoot podcasts.
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
That's what I'm talking about.
I just want to hear T-Bane when we get on the boat. I'm on
That's
the
what I'm
boat.
saying.
I'm on the
That's
boat.
fantastic. All right, so let's divert. Let's go to my favorite fucking segment of the podcast, Spice of the Week, baby. I love Spice of the Week, man. Spice of the Week is my fucking shit. I'm pretty confident you're not sure what that is yet.
No fucking idea.
No fucking idea.
Yeah.
He's not a dedicated watcher. Not yet. Not yet,
all right.
motherfucker. He will be, though, after this.
Everybody becomes a fan.
Spice of the Week. Spice of the Week is dedicated to that segment of the week that made your week a little bit better. Here's a normal week. Sometimes you got that little thing that happens that gives you that heartbeat. Boop. Right? Something that's significant. It doesn't have to be humongous. It can be something very small. Because you know how it is. Every week is different. Everything that happens is a little bit different in your life. But everybody has something that they can look back on and find peace and find hope.
Sure.
That is the idea of our spice of the week. You can look back. Your week may have sucked total ass, but there's at least one thing that you can be like, yo, at least this went good.
Sure.
That's the idea of the spice of the week. We want to get people looking at more positive things, right? And realizing like, hey, this week sucked, but I had this one spice that made that thing just a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So, as usual, we will start with my boy Kanyezy. What you got for the spice of the week, man? You better come with something fucking good. And if you're deep, bro, I'm gonna be mad as fuck. Because I got something real small this week.
Yeah. I don't want to go deep. I just wanted to, to take a grand scheme. Every year on my birthday, I always say that's the chapter that I'm in. So now it's chapter 36. And who you write in that chapter and who you write out of that chapter is so important.
Sure.
Because there's certain people that that shouldn't leave. They're going to always be main characters. And there's certain people that you got to leave at 35. So my notion, after my birthday, I was saying, after I blew out the candles, I made everybody sing happy birthday to me, like big kids. Beth showed up.
Absolutely.
A couple other people. And Mike showed up a little bit late, but he showed up, showed a little love. But
hey, I was getting the artwork. You know what I'm saying?
He had better things to do. Nevertheless, as I was blowing out the candles, I thought, who's gonna make it into this chapter? And I didn't answer that question because I wanted it to flow natural.
Sure.
As an adult, now at age 36, I only involve myself with people I want to be in my life. Anybody that I don't want in my life, I don't have to deal with them.
Absolutely.
So I made that decision, and I shout out to Kobe for saying this. I'm not going back on that decision. So if you see me with somebody, and that you guys can hold me accountable to that, these people are going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And that's my spice of the month. I made that decision and I'm not going back on it.
Spice of the week, baby.
Spice of the week.
Either you know what the best part is? He said he made that dedication, and then Rossi was the first fucking guest. My dog, right here, Rossi.
Appreciate it.
Let's get some.
Find out he punched you in the face. That was good.
Yeah.
It's a old little
That's real
offense,
brotherhood.
defense, tough
Yeah,
love.
that's-
Listen,
that's
baby,
the real
it was
brotherhood.
great. It was great because it was funny in the dorm room, straight up, because my man was straight Brucing from The Longest Yard. Remember, I'll kick your ass. Da, 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 da.
Literally, I got like I got 2 good licks on him, bro, while he was being held back. I guarantee you, he walked away feeling refreshed.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Like,
little pop.
like what?
So
like,
at least you know you
it was
don't pop
great.
off.
It was great, bro. I
Some
loved
people
it.
don't pop off, so I'm glad you got that in. You got to
Oh
have that
yeah,
dog.
that's one thing. After that moment, and when Mike told me, he's like, "Yeah, and Rossi beat your ass." See, that's the moment. I got mad in that moment, but I still knew, like, hey man, what I need to do, I need to chill, because deep down, what Mike's telling me is Rossi's a good fucking dude, and I know that. Yeah. And I was being a little sensitive that day. He's 100% right. I was being a little sensitive,
and I was
that
being
day.
insensitive.
But as is the nature in the moment, because when you're 21, that shit riles up. So, but either way, Rossi, my man. The funny thing is, you got a lot of things that can be spiced of the week this week, baby.
Yeah, no,
what
you're
you
right.
got for me, man?
Yeah.
And like I said, give us money or not, whatever it is that had that biggest impact on you. That was like, man, just made your week the best.
Yeah, so I was just recently came back from Marco Island. I was in Marco Island last week. By the way, if you guys don't know Marco Island,
Beautiful place.
really shouldn't speak on it because it's a little hidden gem to this day. But it's north of Naples. Drove down there for a week vacation with my grandmother. Right, I've been taking care of my 92-year-old grandmother. My grandfather passed away in August of last year, and
Wow.
to help her with the transition, I've been looking after her. You know, she hasn't had a vacation in a minute. Right, so I said, man, let me see if I can get an opportunity here with a timeshare. So fortunately, I was able to get an opening, and I took over a timeshare for 7 days. And we went down to Marco Island. Beautiful white sandy beaches, dream place to be at. Good restaurants, good food, good drinks, good vibes overall, and ended up sticking down there. And there was a moment. It was on Wednesday actually. It was my first night, like really getting rooted in there, and I sat down on the sand and my family and everybody was getting a drink, and they were sitting at a table at the beachfront restaurant there, and I just like sat there and just looked at the water, and really just felt like, man, this was like I'm so grateful to be here, like to be in this moment at this current time. Like I really felt like this shift, because I was going through all this, I had this huge win, but I also got all this publicity hitting me in the face, and my grandfather just passed away, all these trials and tribulations being thrown at me, all these highs and lows, and it was just like a moment of solitude. It was a moment where I was just feeling mentally clear and sound and appreciative to like be on this beach watching this sunset. And that moment, clicked for me and just validated all my hard work and everything that I've been working towards, all my shortfalls and all the struggles, the tears really like that I've been through over the last few years, to be in this moment at this beautiful sandy white beach, being able to treat my grandmother to a vacation that she hasn't had in forever, and along with my girlfriend and some of my close family members. It was a refreshing moment for me to be there and feel that moment and be able to say, hey, like I got it going on. I got a lot to be grateful for. Yeah. And it was a moment of clarity for me to be able to see the next few weeks coming up, and how, I'm gonna tackle this the best way I can and get after it. And I think we all need those moments of clarity, and we all don't take the time to just slow shit down. We all get caught up in the day to day, your work, your grind, your family, your struggles and things that go on. You need a moment where you can just solitude, and that was my spice of the week.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like you are an instant fan of Spice of the Week. That's my dog. Hey, my dog is an instant fan of Spice of the Week. I love that shit.
Yep.
That was a deep one. Man. That was good. And to be honest, that might be top 3 of what we got on the podcast so far. And we've had, now think about it, we got it minimum 3 every single podcast. Mm-hmm. That's not true. We do sometimes with just us. So either way, the whole point is we have at least 100 plus Spices of the Week out there. And that's going to be top 3, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
I'm not going to lie to you. I try to do that every weekend. In the summer, I don't know if you guys, I'm going to hijack Brooks' spot real quick. In the summer, at the end of every week, I'm at someone's beach. And throughout this is the normal year, I'm by the lakes, relaxing by the lakes. But the whole summer, every weekend, I end up by somebody's water. A body of water. And I feel like that's the way you should live. If you live in Florida, you live by the water. Yep. A lot of people don't take advantage of that.
No, and I haven't. Really, and that was something I thought about too. Like, I haven't spent enough time out here, but I think everybody you need to take that time for yourself and put the excuses aside and figure out how to fucking make it happen, because it's important for your mental health. It's important for the future that you have coming towards you, to have a clear mindset. Just take a moment and slow things down.
Yep.
And take some time to yourself and your family. Even if you can't afford it, it doesn't need to be some lavish, expensive vacation where you're going out somewhere special. You just
sometimes
take some time.
It's backyard.
Yeah, literally. But you just take a moment to slow shit down and clear your head. And I don't think people talk about that enough. Mental clarity is everything in this day and age, with all the shit being thrown at you with social media and things. You never know what's coming at you when you're scrolling on your feed. It could be something positive, it could be something negative to throw you off. Yeah. Entropy. Keep that negative energy out of you, and take a moment to digest what's happening and how can we move forward.
No, I love that, dude. And to dive into all that super deepness. And
deep.
I'm gonna tell you what my Spice of the Week was. Straight up, people are gonna look at it as deep, but it really wasn't.
Let's hear it.
So what happened was my this last weekend, supposed to go down and see Mike for a tattoo, right? I have scheduled, which everybody should know by this point in time, Sacred Arts Tattoo in Bradenton, the best tattoo artists in the fucking world, best piercer, the whole shebang. They got the best shop, best customer service. Go down and see them. But either way, I went down. I was supposed to go down there and see Mike for a tattoo appointment. And we always schedule out Saturdays.
This is my birthday, man. Mind you, go ahead.
No. This was
guy having his own party on your birthday.
Yeah, another party on my birthday.
No, this was different. This is different. But this was the one before. So, but what happened was I get like halfway into the day. My wife Ash, she's got some other shit she's got to do with her family, blah blah blah. So I got the kids. kid's supposed to be dropped off at a birthday party by 11:30, and we get to about, I get the kids up early. I said, yo, let's go 7 o'clock. Let's go get some breakfast. I love sitting and having breakfast with my kids because I get to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I just say, hey, how's your fucking day going? How was your week, man? How was school? Do you hate anybody there? Do you think a teacher is an asshole? And a lot of people laugh, but Keon knows. Like, I ask my kids. I'm very direct with my kids. Listen, I don't want you to cuss, but at the same time, I'll do it for you.
Sure.
Do you think your teacher is an asshole? And my daughter's looked at me, yeah, she is kind of an a-hole, like a lot. And I'm like, all right, talk to me about it. Let's figure it out. So we figure things out so that we can, I like to talk to my kids like they're adults so that they can mature a little bit, but also they understand the situations they're in. Because sometimes kids get really vulnerable and they get really victimized and they don't realize, like, the only reason that you're feeling that way is because the teacher's in charge in the class. You're not allowed to be in charge yet, bud, but you will be soon. And I feel like if we had those conversations with kids, but that's diverting away from the spice. But either way, we'll get into that some other day. So either way, we're having this conversation. Everything's going great. We get halfway down the road. Avery starts feeling like dog shit, right? And she's like, hey, Dad, I don't really want to go nowhere. And I'm like, you're about to go to a fucking pool party. I'm talking a birthday party with a pool and all this shit. And she looks at me straight up. She goes, Dad, yeah. F that. I'm trying to go home, man. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. I said, what's wrong? She's like, I feel like shit. I said, all right, man. I said, you really want to just go home? We pull up to the pool party. There's like 200 kids running around. There's a pool. There's pie. There's cookies. There's all this bullshit. I walk her up to it, and she looks at me, and she's like, Dad, can I just hang out with you? Like, can we just go home and chill? I was supposed to drop them off and leave to go to a tattoo appointment. I was supposed to finish up Thor here.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm a little step behind. Thor was supposed to be done by the time he got here, but, you know, it is what it is. So I'm like, all right, man. So I call Mike, and he hadn't left for work yet because, you know, Mike's a late bloomer when it's me and him. So I call Mike, and I say, hey, man, my daughter's sick, bro. He's like, it's all good, dude. I'm hungover as fuck, so I don't even want to do it. I said, all right, we're good. Right? So we come home. We come back to the crib. We go into the movie theater room. And I give Avery the remote. I said, nah, this ain't daddy's time. It's Avery's time. You feeling like shit? Got your little drugs, kid drugs, children stuff. All right. Maybe a little cocaine. But either way. So we chilling, and I say, Avery, this is your day, baby. We got 14 hours. You fit in whatever movies you want to fit in, because obviously it's time for you to rest. We watched 5 movies together, and we didn't come within 10 feet of one another. She was on the other side of the couch, the other side. In the middle of the movies, though, she looked up at me, and she got some real balls. She's like, Dad, this movie is dog shit. I mean, you know what I mean. I'm sorry for cursing, but, you know, Stu left school. Give me a fucking break, right? Like, that's what she did, and I was like, I know you feel like shit, dude. It's all good. Like, whatever. You want to switch to a different movie? She's like, yeah, I do. She did that twice. The whole time, I felt like I was having an adult conversation with my little girl. And I don't know why, man. It just gave me a really good feeling. Like, my daughter talks to me about everything.
That's good.
My daughter talks to me about everything.
Most parents don't have that experience.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of parents don't feel that. A lot of parents, and the sad part is, and I'm going to be bold enough to say this, a lot of you parents don't know that you don't feel that. You think that they say all these things. But my daughter is sitting there telling me about all this bullshit at school, telling me about this, telling me about that. And I'm just sitting there listening. And the reason she knows that is because she knows I'm not going to judge her. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just here to help you. Like, I brought you into this world. You know what I mean? But at the same time, my job's not to control you. My job's to make sure you prevent yourself from making life-altering mistakes, but I can help you with the decision. And then at the same time, if you're going to make a bad decision, I'll tell you the consequences. But ultimately, like, it's up to you. You know what I mean? So at the end of that day, she got down and she said, Dad, she said, I love you, Dad. I said, I love you too, sweetheart. You feeling better? She said, no, I'm not feeling better, but at the same time, like, I love that we can hang out. And then she just walked away and went to bed. And that right there, that was my spice of the week. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, earning the trust of a 9-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's big.
earning the trust of a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
She just looked at me like, Dad, you're a beast, dude. Like, you the man. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
That to
A
me,
little
yeah,
smile.
it's you're right. It's a little deep now that I'm saying it's a little deep,
It's not
but
I think it's great, man.
But it's,
you know,
it's
like-
perfect.
it was, and that was the thing that it was an instantaneous moment that I evaluated into a very long story that I just told. However, that instantaneous moment, it put me on a whole new level. I went in, laid down, and I was like, "Hey, you won't believe what Avery just said. What's up? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?" And it was just like it put me on a whole new level. And as a matter of fact, I think I told you about it on the phone when we were talking about it. Like 2 days later, I was like, "Hey, me and Avery hung out all day, bruh, and we talked about everything, though."
Like a big kid.
Like a big kid, bro.
Like a big kid. Like, bro, it's your daughter.
It was. So that was my spice of the week. So we're gonna wrap this thing up. Rossi, I gotta tell you, do you have any final words? Do you have any final words you'd like to say to the people?
Absolutely, man. First things first. Thank you guys for the invite. Thank you for having me. You know, it's been a real pleasure. You know, I feel the brotherly camaraderie after 15 years of not seeing you boys.
yeah.
We've been on the field of sweat, blood, and
Absolutely.
grind. You know, it's an honor to be here, and I look forward to the next time coming out. But if I had any closing words for anybody listening, keep fucking believing in yourself, man, and get after it. Don't be afraid to take chances. You know, think about how you can make things happen. Don't make excuses. Make things happen.
Yep.
And, you know, carry on, man.
Yes, I love that shit.
In the words of Jaji, you can manifest this shit.
Absolutely.
Just like my man said.
We gotta tag Jaji in that shit.
And I always want you guys to know this. You are exactly where you need to be at. So us signing off.
There you go.
Appreciate you guys.
So, deuces.
Two dimes and a token.
You make Rossi.